Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Healthy CEO. I'm Jason Wright, the Healthy CEO. As you know, I am the co-founder and CEO of Authentic Health Partners, where we manufacture high-quality nutraceuticals. They are all designed by Dr. Troy Jackson and Dr. Gus Vickery, and they are essentially created to help you live a healthier life based on your body's natural design. It's all about managing our bodies at the cellular level. That's what we do. You can check out our products at shopauthentic.health.com. That's shopauthentic.health.com. I would be grateful if you did. Okay, so now let's talk about this idea about today, which is, can exercise actually help you prevent cancer? Well, it turns out the answer is an absolute resounding yes. It's a definitive yes. Researchers looked at colorectal cancer patients and followed them for 8 years. Half the group was given standard education about exercise. The other half was enrolled in a supervised training program. And here is what this study, which by the way, I think this was just released either last weekend or the week before. As soon as I read it, I was like, I want to bring this to the audience, because it's one thing to say getting moving and exercising more is great, as we know, for overall health, wellness, health span, longevity. But whenever you start talking about cancer and cancer prevention, and even, as you're going to learn, if you already have a cancer diagnosis, to learn that something as simple as exercise and nutrition can actually help you live longer or prevent cancer altogether, it is something that it perked my ears up, because cancer is one of those things, a lot of us, we just think it's kind of like bad luck. How many times do you hear people say, well, so-and-so got cancer, never saw that coming, how'd that happen? It is obviously more prevalent in older people. But again, it's one of these diseases that once it comes, it's like, well, how could they have prevented it? Did they have a diet, or did that lent to more likelihood of them developing cancer, or did they smoke? Well, or was it just, again, bad luck? Well, it turns out that you can actually take measures to drastically reduce your chances of getting cancer. And here's what these researchers found. Those in the structured exercise program had a 37% lower risk of death than those who just got pamphlets and looked at the PowerPoint. So in other words, those who actually had that were actually doing a structured exercise program as part of their cancer prevention, they had a 37% lower risk of death than those who just got pamphlets and looked at PowerPoints. In other words, just got the information. Peter Campbell, a cancer epidemiologist, said the results were on par with the best treatments out there. Now think about that. Exercise rivals the best drugs on the market. To me, that is nuts. That is bonkers. And it also reinforces the fact that exercise is undoubtedly, well, it's like what Peter Attia has always said. There is nothing he as a physician can prescribe that will have the potency and the impact on any of his patients that equals regular exercise. That's crazy. Now, maybe you're thinking, well, that's great, but I don't have cancer. Well, here's the thing. This research matters even more before you have a diagnosis, because what this tells us is that your daily choices can literally shift your long-term odds. Movement, nutrition, habits, these aren't soft science. They are actually medicine. I know it sounds cliche now, especially in the era of RFK and MAHA and all of this, to say that exercise and food are medicine, but it turns out they actually are. So whether you like RFK Jr. or not, the bottom line is one of these things that he is always talking about which is health and exercise, nutrition and exercise being medicine. Turns out they really are. So if you're a CEO, a founder, a leader, a grandma, a grandpa, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a healthy CEO to abide by this. The bottom line is, this is your call to stop outsourcing your health to chance. Don't just be one of these people that just lives hoping that they never have a cancer diagnosis. Your lifestyle is your strategy, your best strategy to prevent cancer, or if you've had a diagnosis, to live longer and either go into remission or at least live longer with the cancer, is to watch what you eat, make sure you're eating things that are good for you at the cellular level, and get moving. If you're somebody who has received a diagnosis or you're walking alongside a loved one who has, know this: you still have agency. You are not powerless. You can take action. And the science, it actually backs you up. First of all, so here's like some 3 points that you need to hone in on as you start to create a strategy for either living healthier with a cancer diagnosis or if you are trying to prevent cancer. Number 1, get moving and be strategic about it. This isn't about becoming a marathon runner or some CrossFit nut or anything like that. I've always told everyone who will listen to me that if you are someone that wants to get healthy, you want to get fit, you don't have to start doing soul-crushing workouts. I used to do that all the time. I would get up and I would go to my garage and I would think that I had to burn 1,000 active calories before the day ever started. And that is just bananas. You do not have to do that. The thing I would tell anyone, especially if you're somebody that's been sedentary for a long time and you haven't really exercised, it's not a part of your regular lifestyle, the first thing I would tell you is start walking. It's something that all of us can do. It doesn't take great skill. It doesn't have a high demand on the body. It doesn't you don't exert a lot of cardiovascular energy, but the return on the investment of time when it comes to walking is unbelievable. As a matter of fact, Jordan Syatt, who is the former personal trainer to Gary Vaynerchuk, he's been on my show. Jordan's a great guy, brilliant in health and wellness. And that's what he tells his clients that pay him a ton of money to help them train, is that the first thing I do, he said, the first thing I do is tell them to go for a walk. He said, if I couldn't do anything else, the thing I would do is just walk. And as for me, my wife runs into a lot of people that live in our neighborhood, and they'll always tell her that, well, I saw Jason on his walk today. I saw Jason on his walk. As much as I train, and I do train a lot, I train more than the average person. That's just me. It's the closest thing I have to a hobby, is like staying healthy and bringing this kind of information to you. But of all the things I do, the one non-negotiable is walking. I am going to walk every single morning before I go for a workout. And here's the beautiful thing. When you're traveling, you can still walk. It's harder to get to. I hate hotel gyms. I despise working out around people. And the one thing that I can always do if I don't want to do that is I can go for a walk wherever we are, and then I can come back to the room and I can create a pretty amazing training session just in my hotel room. I'll do an episode one time telling you guys some of the things I do in the hotel that will really jack your heart rate, add a little resistance training, and make you feel so much better throughout the day, and you'll never have to go to one of those obnoxious hotel gyms. All right, so get moving and be strategic about it. Next, feed your cells right. I told you whenever I did the little promo for Authentic Health that what Authentic Health is all about, and this isn't an add-on to the promotion. I just mentioning it because I know I said something about always managing your body when it comes to health and nutrition at the cellular level. That is what you are doing whenever you start to dial into your nutrition. That's whenever you're taking your health and your wellness beyond just how you look. Am I fat? What's my body fat count? What's my BMI? This takes it to a much deeper level, a deeper within the cellular level of your body. And the way to manage your body from a cellular standpoint is, yes, the exercise and the training that you do will help your mitochondria health, which is the power source of the cell, but also the food that you put into your body. This is how you manage your body at the cellular level. And what you want to do is make sure that you're eating things that are anti-inflammatory. And even if they're not anti-inflammatory, make sure that they don't promote inflammation. These are things like greasy foods, lots of sugars, lots of additives and preservatives. These are the things that will cause inflammation, which is your body trying to repair itself. It's damaging your body. Think of whenever you get a scrape on your leg and it turns red, that's inflamed. Whenever you eat foods that are inflammatory, that causes at the cellular level, imagine little scratches turning red. Your body is forced to try to heal itself because it is inflamed, and this reduces the cell's ability to function the way that it's meant to and to keep you healthy. So make sure that you eat foods that are going to feed you at the cellular level in a very healthy way. Next, think the long game. This was not an 8-week shred that these people were doing, that this research was based on. It was an 8-year study with follow-up. The benefits, they absolutely compound. I say this to anyone, again, that will listen to me. I get this a lot, and this is going to sound so, I don't mean this to sound conceited or whatever, but people will ask me, I just got asked here recently, I was at a dinner in Florida, and a dude asked me, said, so are you into bodybuilding or something? And honestly, I can't stand that question. I know most of you won't believe this, but I don't want people to comment on my physical fitness for a couple of reasons. One, that's not why I do it. The only reason why I look the way I do, and I'm harder on myself than anybody, is because I train on a consistent level. I'm not training for bulk. I'm not trying to get shredded. All I want is health and longevity. So when you see me, and if I look like that I'm probably overboard or really vain about the way I look, and hey, there is some vanity to it. I'm not denying that, but really it's none of that. I'm not trying to spend hours and hours in the gym, and I'm not measuring out all my food. All I'm trying to do is be consistent and be healthy, because here's what your body is like. Your body is just like your retirement account. If you will just be consistent and you will train every single day at some level, the level that works for you, it fits into your schedule, it's something that you know you can be consistent with, you're going to keep it up. If you will do that over the long haul, that will compound. It's the exact same thing. Your health and your wellness, you should look at like an IRA. Just make sure to do a little bit on a consistent basis, and before you know it, you'll look up and you will be so healthy that you may be like with the IRA and the retirement, you may be an accidental millionaire. Well, whenever you get to where I am, you'll have people ask you, do you train like for competitions, or are you some sort of a old, some sort of old, do you enter like old man bodybuilding contests or something? And the answer is no, I don't. I would never do anything like that. It is just the result of being consistent in my health and wellness and my training. So focus on the long game. And then finally, I'll back up and I'll say this. If you're someone who you haven't done any of this, again, you're the person that I'm telling to just go take the walk, and you think your BMI is like 56, you got a big gut hanging over your belt, and you think to yourself, there's really no reason for me to even try, I'm too far gone. Don't think that way. First of all, if you decide I want to lose 30 or 40 pounds, don't think about the 30 or 40 pounds ever again. If you can set that as a goal, but then leave it. The next thought should only be going for the walk, getting through one meal, getting through one day, being like what Nick Saban says whenever he's talking about the process. It's being consistently excellent at the first 7 seconds off the snap of the ball. And if you do that enough times, compounded, you'll look up and you'll be a 7-time national champion. I think it was 7 times that he won a national championship between LSU and Alabama. All right, so now, why this changes the narrative? Okay, here we go. For too long, the cancer conversation has been purely clinical. Diagnosis, drugs, radiation, and surgery. And then I'm going to throw another one in there, hope. I hope I don't get it. That's the way a lot of people live their lives. I'm living and I hope I don't get cancer one day. But this study changes that. It reframes the role of the patient from a passive recipient to an active participant. I'm going to repeat that. It reframes the role of the patient from a passive recipient, either I get cancer or I don't, to an active participant. I get to decide. I get to lessen my chances of receiving the cancer. It's not an either or, it's both. Remember this. Medicine and movement, science and sweat, oncology and ownership. Okay, it's you. And look. If you were to ask me what's more important, movement or nutrition, frankly, I would say movement. I think a lot of people out there would say that. If you will, because here's the thing, moving your body is a use it or lose it proposition. So if you are eating a perfectly pristine diet, I mean, you have your macronutrients dialed in perfectly, but you're never exercising, then it doesn't work. It's kind of like having a symphony. It's trying to play a symphony with no horns. There's something missing. Every single other instrument might be just crushing their movements, doing everything perfectly, hitting every note in perfect tune. But if there's no horns, it's never going to be Beethoven's Fifth. It's never going to be Mozart's Jupiter. It's never going to be Vivaldi's Four Seasons. It's just going to, there's something going to be missing. And when it comes to health and wellness, I firmly believe that moving is what's going to overcome a lot of the bad eating and all that sort of thing. So you got to get moving. You just have to get moving. But it's not a one or the other. It's both. By the same token, if you're someone who you can't out-train your diet, how many times have you heard that? You can't out-train your diet. You cannot be one of these people that you think just because you are up and you're training every single day and you crush it, you do CrossFit, you do all these different things, but yet you eat like crap, you drink a lot of alcohol, you don't sleep well, you don't stay hydrated. Even if it's not right now, because some of you, you're young, so just by being young, you are genetically superior for a moment than guys like me. I'm 50. So at 50, if there's a 25-year-old that eats like crap but exercises, you may not notice that the diet is bad on that person. Well, eventually it will. It will catch all of us. You cannot out-train your diet. So make sure that if you are training and you're not getting the results you want, or if you just want to be healthier and you want to stave off a cancer diagnosis, you got to have nutrition as one of the components. All right. Well, I appreciate you listening to this episode. The main thing I want to do, I could have just kept this really simple and said, hey, if you want to have a 37% reduction in getting cancer, go start exercising. But that wouldn't really be quite as engaging of an episode. But that's really what I want you to take from this, is that if you will start moving on a regular basis, if you will add exercise and training as a consistent part of your lifestyle, you could actually have a 37% reduction in mortality from cancer. And I want to make sure I said that right, because I think the first time I said it's a 37% reduction of receiving a cancer diagnosis, but that's not the case. It's a 37% less likelihood of dying from cancer. So get out there, get moving, eat good whole foods. They're going to feed you at the cellular level. They're going to lower inflammation. Live healthier, longer. It's not just about lifespan, it's about health span. I'm Jason Wright. I'm the Healthy CEO. Thanks for listening.